Hello traders, Jeff with optionboxer.com, back with another video to kind of continue what I had said a few weeks ago that I would do. I've made another free spreadsheet here. I really feel pretty great about this one, to be honest with you. It did take me a little more work than the other two that I've already put out there. But I think you'll really like what I've done here, and I know this is a popular strategy. At least it will. I say it's popular. I feel like it's popular. Maybe you do not, but it is what is known as the options wheel strategy. And so please know before I get into this spreadsheet, this is not a recommendation for you to buy or sell any security or place any options trade or attempt this strategy or any strategy. Please make sure you're consulting a registered financial advisor, and please make sure you're doing your own research prior to trading. Just make sure you understand the disclaimer on the screen. Don't want to get into any trouble, and don't want you to get yourself into any trouble by making trades that you shouldn't make. So anyways, got the wheel strategy spreadsheet here, and I'll try to be very brief with my kind of discussion over it. I'm not going to go into too much into the formulas. For those of you that want to, I haven't blocked anything or locked anything or any of that. So when you get your hands on this spreadsheet, you can feel free to dive in there and start understanding kind of the construction there. I believe, and I will say I'm 98% certain, 99% certain that I've got all the formulas functioning appropriately, and that they're all calculating as I want them to. But as always, please feel free to reach out to me in the comments, or you can reach me at jeff@optionboxer.com, and you can let me know, hey, this isn't working, or hey, something's not making sense to me. And for those of you that have reached out to me, I get back to you really, really quickly. So the only thing that's kind of annoying, well, there's a couple of annoying things that I had to include just so it looked better and was more presentable, is I had to include this helper column kind of over here on its own, just so I didn't end up with duplicate names in my drop down list here. And I wanted a clean drop down list to look up the investments I made, and the only way to do that was to add that column there. So we had to leave the helper column there. You can just hide it if you want to. That way it doesn't look bad, basically. So starting over here on the left, we'll start at the top. You see in this kind of this yellow or yellow greenish section here is the unrealized profit, the share cost, and the cost basis. Now that's only going to calculate for your total open positions, and we'll get into this kind of the status, which is kind of what everything is based off of here in a minute. But you can see right now we've got an unrealized profit of 1,572 based on these hypothetical trades. We have a share cost of 4,000 and then a cost basis of 38.75. You can see of all of our closed positions, we are actually down $350, and this is only closed positions or exercised positions here. This is just kind of a quick look at all your trades, even if you had 300 of these in here. It's a quick look to see how much money have you made using this strategy, or how much money have you lost in this case. And then this was something I kind of thought to add later on. I just felt like once this thing kind of got filled up, as a trader, we're not going to want to go back and say, okay, well, how am I doing on Microsoft, or what's my Apple wheel strategy is specifically looking like. I don't want to see the total. I know overall I'm doing well, but maybe you want to look at an individual company. So right now we don't have any shares open in Apple, so we don't have any share cost or any cost basis, and you can see we're down $350 in that position. So let's move along to AT&T. You can see in AT&T we've actually made 150, and again you can see over here they're closed, exercised, and there's nothing there. We do have a position open in Verizon here, and you can see it shows us that we have 100 shares. If we had 400, 500, 10,000, it would show us there, and then it would show you the relevant cost for those shares, and then it would tell you the cost basis, which basically is going to subtract out any premium you've received, whether that be a put or a call, and then it's going to calculate for the current market price as well, to give you both a realized and an unrealized P&L kind of right here in one cell. And then of course once you close it, then it'll be included I'm sorry, once you close it, then it'll be included here in this realized profit and loss. And I can't remember as I'm making this video if it's included in there to begin with. It looks like closed, exercised. So yeah, so it is included in here if it's closed. It's not included in here if it's an open position. So that's just something to keep in mind. And then so that kind of handles the investment lookup, total open positions. And then so let's go through really quickly what I've got here. So I don't love Excel's data for stocks, but it's what I had available, so I made it work. So let's say you get your hands on this spreadsheet and you want to set up a trade in GE. You're simply going to type GE and tab over, and then it doesn't look all that pretty there. But let's say you have one contract, you're opening a put. Let's say it's at $15. I don't know what GE is currently trading at. Let's say you got $1 for it, $1 even. You're going to leave the debit 0 unless you open it and then the market, I don't know, skyrockets and you're able to get out on the first day you enter it. And then you're going to simply come over here and in this drop. Don't do that. There you go. Simply select this drop down box and click open. And let's say 10 days or so goes by, this thing's about to expire, and you get assigned. So here's the one. I told you at the beginning there were a couple of annoyances that I had to make work. You'll see I have assigned open and assigned closed. So when you first get assigned on General Electric, in order for it to populate here in your shares assigned column or box that runs all the way down, you'll have to put open. So that the calculations will happen appropriately. If you put assigned closed, you can see it changes the calculations here. So you want to put assigned open to start with, and then let's say you came back and you decided, hey, I'm going to start selling my calls against this, start lowering my cost basis. Let's say you close that one. Let's say you open another one. So you closed it for 5 cents, sorry. And then let's say on this one, you were exercised. So once you get exercised on a particular position, you just need to go back to where you were assigned and then change it to assigned close. So it's kind of annoying. But it's a very minor thing, I think, and so once you do that, it'll all calculate appropriately. And then we can kind of look and say, well, how did General Electric do for us? You can see we don't have any shares, and we ended up making $95 on that trade. So it looks like we lost some, on my price was off on the strikes I was picking, but regardless, still a profitable position over a couple of trades, and that's pretty much it. So you got all the shares assigned information here. You got all the shares exercised information here if you ever want to see that. And what I really love about this spreadsheet, or what I really like about it, is that most wheel strategy spreadsheets I've seen require just a debilitating amount of data entry, and I've gotten to the point where I just don't want to track something and have to enter 50 line items, because let's be honest, it's not going to be something I do on a regular basis, which means it's really only going to be useful the once a month that I log in and actually enter the data. So I wanted something that was super simple, that you could pop up, enter a couple of pieces of information, and then have the spreadsheet kind of do the work for you. So that's what this is here. And again, I think I've gotten everything. The only thing that I think that you could run into that would be problematic would be the fact that, let's say you were trading another Apple position here. Let's say you bought 5 or you sold 5. Puts. I don't know what Apple's going for, so let's just say we got $2. And then let's say you came back and you wanted, let's say you were assigned. If I can click the right one, you were assigned open. But let's say you only wanted to sell, 3 calls against it. I don't know. I didn't really look how it would work. It may work out fine, but it's not going to calculate appropriately, because the number of I'm sorry, I actually know how it will work out. If you don't have an even number, it's not these calculations are not prepared to handle an uneven number. So if this were going to be a situation where you were going to, say you were going to open, if this were going to be a situation where you opened 5 puts and you were assigned all 5 of them, but you only wanted to sell calls on a portion of the position, or some variation, and you're not keeping a 1-to-1 ratio between calls to puts, and assigned shares to exercise shares, you would have to enter that as each as its own line item. So if you had 5 contracts here, it would have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 line items for to document this position. And I know that becomes really heavy data entry, but I in my own trading, I've never had a reason to not open 5 and then sell 5 calls, or sell. Or there another scenario would be, maybe you wanted to sell, maybe you sold 5, and at some point you closed the call, or you didn't open the call and you sold the shares outright. Well, you could still account for that if you wanted to sell the shares straight out. You would just have to put it in contract form here. So if you were going to sell one contract, you could put it as a call. You would have to put your sold price. So let's say you sold it for 150.61. Your credit would be 0. You were exercised, and then it's going to calculate for your 100 shares if you sold 100. Just make sure you put it in contract form, and make sure you put it in as exercised, and then don't put any income, any credit or debit there, because it's a closed position. So at some point, maybe in the future, I'll account for this, in the calculations. It wouldn't be that big a deal, but for now, that at least allows you to be able to close some shares without having them both without having them assigned or exercised. So sorry I got a little long-winded there at the end, but that pretty much wraps it up. If you guys have any questions at all, certainly feel free to reach out to me at jeff@optionboxer.com, or reach me in the comments. Hope you guys like the spreadsheet, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.